What is good, internet people? Today I want to talk about some of the knives I carried most in 2025. I would have done the video earlier, but I didn't decide to do a YouTube video until I got snowed in. Thought it might be interesting to try and had fun, so I've made a couple now. This right here is the Spyderco Para 3 in Maximate. Now, I just got this last year, actually, kind of later in the year, but once I got it, this thing ended up in my pocket probably more than any other knife. This is the compression lock, so a liner lock that engages in the back of the blade with the Spidey hole, of course, what Spyderco is known for. I was one of the people that always thought Spydercos just looked kind of goofy and uncomfortable in the pocket because of that giant thumb hole that makes the blade poke out like that. But after having one in my hand, I do believe this is an extremely ergonomic and well thought out design. It gives your thumb a nice spot to really choke up on it. The jimping right here under the blade and then on the back is perfect. You can tell Spyderco knows what they're doing, which that's probably why they've been in business and so successful for so long. One thing I did add is a deep carry pocket clip. The ones that come on the standard Para 3s I just find sit a little too high in my pocket. And I prefer it to sit a little bit lower. The G10 on these is perfect, not too aggressive, not too light, gives you a good grip. This is just a solid knife for anybody that wants to spend the money and step up to something like a Spyderco. Another one that was carried quite a bit, the QSP Penguin. Doesn't have to be this particular model. Honestly, I probably carried the budget Penguin more just because this is a Knife Center exclusive. I still carry it, but a lot of times I just grab my D2 Penguin. This one is in S35VN. Won't focus there. This is the, like I said, Knife Center exclusive, so it's in that orange and black G Mascus with the button plunge lock, which QSP does an excellent job with their button plunge locks. I'm not the biggest fan of plunge locks just because I always feel like the detent is not always the best on them, but companies can make it to where you have a very solid detent with them, and QSP does that very well. You got a deep carry clip, reversible with a fuller. Lanyard hole, also on the Para 3 you get the lanyard hole. Yeah, I mean, the QSP Penguin doesn't need any introduction to people in the community. Everybody knows what a QSP Penguin is and how awesome they are. I chose to put this one in the video because I actually gave my budget Penguin to my dad and he liked it, so he kept it. And then I bought a different budget Penguin in D2, and it's sitting by my bed. I didn't want to wake my baby up to get it. This right here is the Flytanium Arcade. This one is another one that ended up in my pocket. It is S35VN on the blade as well. Between this one and my Demco 80 20.5, I just wanted something with a shark lock on the video because I do love the shark lock. This one is aluminum with micarta. They also send G10 with the knife as well, so you can swap the inserts out. Deep carry pocket clip. It is not reversible, but you can buy inserts from Flytanium that will allow it to be reversible pocket clip. Flytanium is basically the AR-15 of the knife world. You can swap out just about every part on this and customize it as you see fit. And a shark lock is much easier to take apart and put back together than some other type of locks. I tell myself every time I take apart a crossbar lock that I'm never doing it again, and then For some reason, I decided to swap the scales on something and regret it every few months. But yeah, the Arcade, they also have like an Arcade Light with AUS 10 steel, which is also a great knife. I just saw these on a special and decided I wanted to try one out, and it is one of my favorite knives. Next up, the Kizer Drop Bear 2. This one is AEBL steel. You got the top liner lock with the button. Also deep carry, also reversible, also lanyard hole. It's got all the things, and then it has quite an extensive amount of jimping all the way up, and then a secondary row of jimping up here to do your precision cutting or your utility cuts. This one has a nice big choil to choke up on the blade if you need to. It's not the biggest knife. I mean, it fits in the hand, but I do feel like my pinky is kind of right down there at the bottom of it. So choking up does give you a full grip on it. This one ends up in my pocket a lot because of the ergonomic design of the handle. When it's in my pocket, everything is just so rounded and smooth. The Richlight scales on this particular model, they're grippy, not the most grippy, but when it's in my pocket and I've got to reach in there and grab something out, you know, nowadays kids' toys and pacifiers end up in my pockets when we're out, and sometimes you need to get to them quick, and this does not get caught up on my hand when it is in my pocket. It just rolls right off, and sometimes that is what I need more than a big knife, is pocket space nowadays. Another knife, the last one in the video, and this one was probably carried the most, the Vosteed Sci-Op 299. This one is aluminum micarta with S35 on the blade again. It's not that I love S35, it's just S35 seems to be where most of the knives I gravitate to are put on, I guess. This one has a deep carry wire clip, lanyard hole, a little bit of jimping on the back spacer, and then also some jimping on the blade. This knife is great in the hand. There is no hot spots for me. It is truly one of my favorite designs. I should probably get the bigger version eventually just to try that out, see how I like it. I also don't have the smaller version, but I usually don't carry smaller knives. You know, what I would call a mini version of this or something else, just a little too small. I do 5th pocket carry sometimes, but generally I prefer a medium-sized knife. So all of these fit that bill. A little bit of a bonus here, the Vosteed Croc, also a top liner lock. Good row of jimping there, nice choil to choke up on, nice sheep's foot blade. You can get up top on it, nice flat spot to rest your finger. This is a bonus because I do carry it a lot, but this also gets used around the house more than possibly any other knife. I think this one has probably gotten the most actual use of the last year, just because it sits out in the kitchen usually where we open up our Amazon packages, cut open kids' toys, all that type of stuff. So this is just a very utilitarian knife, I feel. I do wish they would have rounded the G10 a little bit more and inset the liners on it. Not the end of the world, but it does create some hot spots right here on the pads of my fingers, right there at the crease. Nothing I can't deal with. It is a very solid knife. I didn't put it as the most carried because I do think these end up in my pocket more often, but around the house, this guy gets a lot of use. So yeah, that's the 5 knives that I probably carried the most, and then the one knife I probably actually used the most. You guys tell me down in the comments, what knives did you use the most in 2025, carry the most in 2025, or just find that you enjoyed the most in 2025? Thank you guys for watching. If you want to comment down below and tell me whether you agree with my decisions or if you think there's something else I need to try that I might like more than some of these, I would enjoy the input. This is all about community here and having conversation with people that enjoy some of the same things that we do, right? So feel free, like, comment, and subscribe. This is Everyday Cuts. Y'all have a good day.